They fight up close and personal with their loyal beast, using a combination of savage melee strikes, venom, and handmade explosives. You can throw wildfire bombs and explosive shots, or slash your enemies with spears through Mongoose Bite, entering a window of increased damage with this ability that you must take advantage of. Survival Hunters are versatile combatants, with cooldowns to make your melee abilities ranged, and incredible mobility with your harpoon. You will never see downtime when playing this spec. Coordinated Assault is your main cooldown, strengthening the bond between you and your pet, and when talented, once this cooldown ends, your explosive shot becomes free, allowing you to blow up everything in your way. Pack Leader Hunters are a hybrid of Beast Mastery and Survival. They deal extra damage through their kill commands and have a chance to strike twice. Upon striking twice, your Barb Shot or Raptor Strike will reset and deal extra damage. Additionally, your pet's critical strikes will increase your critical strike damage by up to 15%. Each spec of the Hunter is completely unique, allowing you to cover all bases in whichever content you prefer. Whether it's solo content, melee preferable, or bursty damage windows, this class has you covered. The Hunter boasts a pseudo-immunity in aspect of the turtle, which can prove very valuable for solo soaking and grouped content. They can redirect their threat to help out tanks and use a variety of traps to help control mobs. They also recently just received a raid buff in Hunter's Mark, causing enemies to take more damage at the start of encounters, so are much more valued when it comes to grouped content. The Mage is characterized by its mastery of magic and sharp intellect. They are ranged damage dealers and harness the powers of fire, frost, and arcane sorcery to deal catastrophic damage to their foes, control the battlefield, and also buff themselves through shields and enchantments to compensate for their cloth armor. They are known for their wisdom, resourcefulness, and ability to tap into the raw energies of magic to shape the world around them. Mages can hone in on 3 different specializations: Frost, Fire, and Arcane, each offering unique playstyles and abilities. Fire mages embody the destructive force of flames, wielding the power of fire to incinerate their enemies and engulf their surroundings in infernos. They are pyromancers and arsonists, leaving nothing but ashes in their wake. Fire mages are incredibly bursty thanks to their combustion cooldown, causing all abilities to critically strike. This results in chained instant cast pyroblast or flame strikes, depending on how many mobs are present. Passively, your abilities can turn enemies into a living bomb, making them explode a few seconds later and turning all enemies hit into more living bombs, blowing up the world around you. This spec is incredibly mobile due to the nature of its instant cast rotation, and once enemies get low, your execute damage is notoriously strong thanks to improved scorch damage, which again can be cast on the move. Frostfire mages are a blend between frost and fire, generating mastery for both schools of magic. Frostfire Bolt returns and can be empowered to be instant cast and explode for 80% of its damage, and your main abilities will now also cast an additional spell from the opposing or same school of magic, cooling down a Comet Storm whenever you use Meteor and vice versa. Frost mages perform chilling displays on the battlefield. They conjure frozen landscapes and leave enemies frozen in their tracks as they unleash the full fury of winter upon them. Frost Mage's Shatter mechanic is a core aspect of their ability to deal damage. It allows the mage to deal increased critical damage against frozen targets, amplifying their burst potential by shattering enormous glacial spikes or ice lances into the frozen target. They have unmatched crowd control passively due to the chilling nature of their rotation. Blizzard pelts icicles in an area of effect, while also slowing all movement speed by 65%. Frozen Orb further slows and also generates fully buffed ice lances that act as if the target were frozen, granting Frost Mages some amazing consistent damage regardless of the encounter. Spellslinger Mages are a mix between Frost and Arcane. They gain access to splinters that embed themselves into their target and deal damage over time, while also stacking even more splinters from most of your other damaging abilities. Whenever you have 8 or more embedded splinters, you automatically conjure a Splinter Storm, dealing all active splinters remaining damage instantly, and then unleashing a barrage of splinters at the target. Arcane Mages are masters of manipulating raw arcane energy, tapping into the fundamental forces of magic to unleash devastating spells upon their enemies. They manage the delicate balance between mana and building or spending arcane charges to maximize damage output. Arcane Mages are incredibly bursty thanks to core abilities like Touch of the Magi, accumulating the damage you deal to that target before exploding to decimate surrounding foes. Because of this, they deal amazing priority damage by channeling a bombardment of arcane missiles and blasts into the enemy, while consuming their arcane charges to dump barrages for immense critical strikes. They can quickly build these charges back up by launching arcane orbs or detonating arcane explosions to continue the cycle of sustained damage. Some Fury mages are a cross between fire and arcane. They conjure spellfire spheres when they consume their respective procs, and these spheres can increase your damage, but can also be consumed by the Phoenix you summon in your main cooldowns. Consuming these spheres will allow the Phoenix to cast an exceptional spell. Once the Phoenix expires, you are granted Arcane Soul or Hypothermia, making your Barrage and Pyroblast or Flame Strike instant and free for a short duration. Mages are jokingly the favourite child of Blizzards, historically always having at least one spec that performs at the top level. They bring an immunity in the form of Ice Block to help cheese mechanics, as well as a cheat death through Fire's Cauterized passive. Mages buff the intellect of your party by 5%, so they are a necessity for any raid team, and to bring more quality of life, they can conjure food and drink for everyone, as well as summon portals to any main city in the game for easy travel. Rogues are masterful assassins, thieves, and spies, adept at striking from the shadows and vanishing without a trace. Rogues are the epitome of versatility and adaptability, able to excel in a variety of roles from dealing lethal damage in combat to infiltrating enemy strongholds and gathering vital intelligence. Rogues revolve around stealth, mobility, and burst damage, with a focus on exploiting the weakness of their enemies and striking with lethal precision. Rogues can focus on 3 different specializations: assassination, outlaw, and subtlety, each offering unique playstyles and abilities. Assassination rogues use poisons and bleeds to eliminate their targets with deadly toxins. With their deadly blades and mastery of poison, they are the epitome of silent killers. Assassination rogues maintain heavy sustained damage over time with their abilities, building combo points with their garrotes and mutilates, to finish with carefully planned envenoms to maintain increased damage on their poisons. They are highly effective at dispatching priority targets with their Kingsbane that injects lethal poison into your target that ramps in damage for each poison applied, and Deathmark is your main cooldown that duplicates all of your main bleeds and poisons. When facing multiple foes, your damage comes from spreading your garrotes and ruptures with indiscriminate carnage, building combo points quickly with Fan of Knives, and unleashing a Crimson Tempest to bleed all nearby enemies. Fatebound rogues are a hybrid between outlaw and assassination. Each time they use a finishing move, they flip a coin that will increase their throughput or deal cosmic damage. Flips that are triggered by envenom or dispatch are much more likely to match the same as the last flip, and after popping your main cooldown, your coin will land on its side, generating you both buffs. After your coin flips the same face 7 times in a row, you gain a 7% increase to your agility until you leave combat for 10 seconds. Outlaw rogues are swashbucklers that embrace the daring spirit of a pirate or corsair. They are rogues who thrive on the thrill of adventure, using their quick wit and nimble fingers to outmaneuver their foes and seize treasure and plunder. Outlaw rogues deal direct damage through their insanely fast gameplay, sped up by their main cooldown Adrenaline Rush, granting the outlaw increased energy regeneration, energy, and also attack speed. Building multiple combo points through sinister strikes and pistol shots, they can then spend their points on a between the eyes shot or dispatch their foes. All of their single target damage can be directly translated to cleave damage through their iconic Blade Flurry buff they must maintain. Outlaw's most notable mechanic though is their Roll the Bones cooldown. This grants the rogue anywhere between 1 to 5 combat enhancements that adds an element of unpredictability and variance to the gameplay. These buffs can range anywhere from increased critical strike chance to extra cooldown reduction from finishers, and if you're lucky enough to roll a 5 buff, you'll embody the feeling of a pirate finding his treasure. Trickster rogues are a cross between outlaw and subtlety. They strike with an unseen blade during their rotation, which causes the enemy to take 5% more damage from you through phased. Killing Spree and Secret Technique will apply this debuff to all targets struck. After 4 strikes of Feint, your next dispatch, Eviscerate, or Black Powder will turn into Coup de Grace, dealing 40% increased damage. Subtlety rogues are masters of shadows and they strike unseen. These rogues are capable of performing devastating assaults using malevolent shadow magic to take down their enemies, slipping away unharmed, ready to strike again without detection. Their gameplay revolves around dealing burst damage while inside their Shadow Dance windows, granting them access to their stealth-specific abilities and dealing increased damage. Shuriken Storm is your combo point generator in Cleave, with the Shuriken Tornado cooldown firing off multiple storms back to back, ready for you to detonate a black powder finisher in between. Alternatively, you can use this quick combo point generation to repeatedly dump single target eviscerates into a dangerous priority target, and this is why Subtlety is crowned as the king of funnel damage. Your deadliest finisher comes from your secret technique, creating shadow clones of yourself to perform piercing attacks on all enemies. This cooldown can be reduced from good gameplay, rewarding the best rogues with top tier damage. Deathstalker rogues are a mix of subtlety and assassination. They apply a Deathstalker's mark to their target and consume the marks to deal extra damage. Upon consuming the final mark, they gain 60 energy, and their next envenom or eviscerate is guaranteed to crit, does 30% extra damage, and applies 3 stacks of the mark. Rogues excel in adapting to different encounters and roles within grouped content. With their diverse toolkit of abilities, rogues can provide valuable support to their group in the form of crowd control or defensives. Rogues have been famous for their Cloak of Shadows ability, allowing them to deal with fatal mechanics by themselves to make fights trivial. They also boast a cheat death and bring value to your group or raid with their Atrophic Poison, reducing the enemy's damage dealt by 3%, making them essential for any serious progression. They can shroud their whole team in stealth to skip past annoying mobs, and the list of utility this class provides is truly endless, and their damage is always top tier. Priests serve as conduits of divine and shadow magic, wielding the power of faith and spirituality to heal and protect their allies, or harnessing the darkness to vanquish their foes. While they have a variety of protective and enhancement spells to bolster their allies, the priests can also wreak terrible vengeance on their enemies, using the grand powers of the Holy Light to smite and purge them, or the devastating powers of the Void to decimate their minds. Priests can focus on 3 different specializations. Discipline and Holy can be spec'd for healing, and Shadow to deal damage, each of these offering unique playstyles and abilities. Discipline priests use their unwavering faith to shield their allies from harm and mend their wounds with the power of divine magic. They balance the powers of light and dark to assail their enemies and heal their allies simultaneously, making for a very unique healing playstyle. While capable of reactive healing, Discipline priests truly come into their own when able to proactively bless their allies with atonement from their main healing abilities. This atonement will heal the target when the priest deals damage to enemies with Mind Blasts, Penances, and more. They have access to a plethora of external cooldowns to make sure their allies survive far beyond their normal capacities. Rapture buffs your power word shield greatly, increasing the absorption and incurring no cooldown when used. You can suppress the pain of a singular ally to reduce their damage taken by 40%, or even shield all allies with a power word barrier to survive fatal incoming damage. The Oracle is a hybrid of Discipline and Holy. They gain access to Premonition. This ability can proc cooldown reduction, extra healing throughput, or damage reduction, and it cycles between each advantage. When you proc the damage reduction, you invoke a Clairvoyance, granting all buffs of Premonition. Holy priests take on the role of divine healers and spiritual guides. They are devout servants of the light, bringing salvation to their allies. Holy priests focus primarily on reactive healing, using their flash heal to restore large amounts of health and replicating a portion of the heal onto a previous recipient. They have access to several big cooldowns, including their Holy Word abilities. Serenity can be used to instantly top a singular ally in danger, whereas Sanctify is a ground-targeted heal, healing for much less, but saving multiple friends at once. Both of these abilities have long cooldowns, but can be reduced passively through your rotation. Outside of the bursty, on-demand healing the Holy Priest can provide, they also have access to sustain through their Renew heal over time and also Prayer of Mending. Even death itself proves to be no match for the Holy Priest. They can save an ally from certain demise by invoking a Guardian Spirit to protect them, or even heal from beyond the grave as a renowned spirit of redemption. Archon Priests are a hybrid of Holy and Shadow. They spawn multiple halos that return to you after reaching their maximum distance, and these halos can extend your cooldowns while cast within them. Casting a halo increases your throughput on that unit by up to 10%, and finally, Power Infusion will now grant you an additional 10% haste. Shadow Priests embrace the darkness and harness the power of shadow magic to wreak havoc upon their enemies. They are wielders of forbidden knowledge, delving into the depths of the void and old gods to uncover secrets long forgotten. Instantly recognizable by their shadow form, Shadow Priests tend to focus on afflicting multiple targets with potent damage over time effects, as well as unleashing psychic agony on a single target with their Mind Blast and Mind Flays. These abilities all accumulate insanity as your resource to fuel devouring plagues, and through a psychic link between all enemies afflicted with Vampiric Touch, your single target damaging spells replicate a portion of the damage onto them. The height of a